Hey guys, welcome to The Grey Escape. I'll tell you all about today's escape right after this. So right now I am on Mulholland Drive, one of the most famous scenic roads in the United States, certainly one of the most famous. It's over 20 miles of mostly two-lane road that was opened to the public in 1924 and named after civil engineer William Mulholland, who conceived of the project as a scenic road that would transport city dwellers to the mountains and beaches. Once you actually get out of LA, the road is called Mulholland Highway and actually continues on for about another 30 miles. But the famous part of it is the Mulholland Drive part that runs right through the middle of Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley. And that's how come you can get staggeringly spectacular views of both sides of the Santa Monica Mountains. You've seen pictures and in movies of that famous array of city lights. That's generally shot from Mulholland Drive. It's just got the most amazing viewpoint. Not surprisingly, there's some pretty fancy real estate nearby that's housed some famous folks like Jack Nicholson, Reese Witherspoon, Justin Timberlake, just to name a few. I'm going to post a snapshot of where I am right now at thegreyescape.com so that you know I was really here. And right now, it's time for a show. So last episode, we had a pretty formal Q&A with the lovely Ian Roberts from the Upright Citizens Brigade. And this show, we're going to have a more informal conversation with two people I know very well. Known these guys, both of them for about 8 years, very close to me, Jason Canning and Chris James, who are both British comedians who've honed their stand-up comedy craft around the United States and other countries. Chris has a viral video on YouTube that's definitely worth checking out called Black British Accent. Take a look at that. 1 million people can't be wrong. And Jason, who, by the way, was a last-minute bonus guest for this episode, he is a voiceover artist as well as a comedian, and you can hear him in many animated projects like Lego Star Wars, Lego Hero Factory, HBO's The Life and Times of Tim, and most recently Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And let me tell you, we go on quite the journey in this conversation. We start off very casual, just quizzing Chris on his stand-up comedy experience with colleges in America, and then just like Mulholland Drive, that is famous for its twists and turns, its hairpin corners, we are going to dive in, and I promise you there are going to be twists and turns and hairpin corners. Here we go, Chris James and Jason Canning. Do you get to meet a lot of other comics, or is it just you on a booking, or do you have an opener and a middler like on the road?
If now I'm in New York, if I might have an opener, bring a friend.
Is that up to you though to bring someone?
Yeah, it's up to me. And then sometimes the college, they might have a student that wants to open who does a bit of comedy, and they ask you if you'd like that, and then you're like, yeah, I'd like that very much.
Yeah.
Or a host.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's very rare though. For 98% of the time, it's just me. It's funny because I've had some really nice students. Like I didn't know. When I was in Utah recently, and I had dinner with Mormons. They were all Mormons. And I didn't know nothing about Mormons other than, South Park or what you hear on TV, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's usually always negative. But you know what? There was some cool things. I spoke to them and, I was like, wow, this is a side of a group of people that I've never really got to see for myself and meet them. Because I don't ever like to take what media has just given me and fed me on a spoon. I like to have my own experience with people.
Yeah, your own experience, own views.
So that's the beautiful thing about doing the colleges is I get to see other parts of America and cultures and people that I would never have had to see before.
What did you learn about Mormons?
Well, there was one thing that they said that I liked. and it said that all the bishops or priests, they don't get paid. They just they don't go to school. They're just people that congregate. They're volunteers.
They volunteer the time because they believe in it.
Yeah. And I like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I like the fact. I kind of like that. That's just,
Yeah, something resonated with you.
Yeah.
Probably because we've all spent so much time working for our craft without being paid.
Well, yeah,
Congregating.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you do it because you love it.
Yeah.
because you love
There
it.
you go.
Yeah,
You
there's
have
passion.
passion for it,
There's a
yeah.
passion for it. So that's something I liked about that. And then I also like the fact the traveling that they do that whole mission thing. They all have to. Well, for the most part, mainly the guys, but I think the girls do it too. Where you just get to pick a place anywhere in the world, and you stay there for like 2 years.
Wow.
And you do mission work.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, that encourages you to travel, and I think traveling is so important. Like if I have kids, that's one of the things I will stress to them is do not be stuck in a village or a town for the rest of your life. Get out and see some things, experience some things, because you'll learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I liked about a church encouraging you to travel, because sometimes when you travel as well, it erases some of your ignorances of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Your ignorance of places and people, you have a whole different outlook. And I think maybe if more people traveled more, more people would have more of a global outlook
Yeah.
on life, and
That's
it
it.
won't be so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh, I
saying?
couldn't
Well, we're
agree with you more.
closed-minded
Couldn't agree
and
more.
Well, we're just conditioned, aren't you? Like you said, we're conditioned to believe what we see on TV and what we're fed.
Yeah.
And yet we don't know, oh, okay, so that's what a Mormon is, or that's what, that area is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to go there yourself and meet these people.
we're so fed and surrounded, fed and influenced by our surroundings that we're very limited in our views, and that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I think one of the blessings of being a comedian is the travel opportunities.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I got to do some gigs like over the past couple of years in Croatia and Prague and places I never would have been to if it wasn't for stand-up comedy taking me there. And I know you've done tons of shows in South Africa.
yeah. That's another place where you get so many different cultures. People always think when you think of Africa as you just get one dynamic, but
That's a massive country.
just in South, just
Continent.
that continent, exactly that
Yeah.
continent. I mean, there's so much. It's so rich, and even just South Africa alone, the amount of different cultures and tribes and customs and languages. I mean, in that area is unbelievable.
We learned something recently, didn't we, about the African continent? Is that on a map, the African continent is huge. Was it something like 10 times bigger than America? Like something crazy. And
I
yet-
don't think that's actually true, though. I think then we went to look it up, it is bigger.
It is bigger,
than
though.
it's shown on a map. The real Africa
Yeah,
is
it's
bigger
shrunk
than.
when you see it on a global
it's
map.
shrunk
It's
and
not as
distorted.
big as it actually is. It's not.
But it's not 10
Oh,
times
right,
as
not 10
big.
times, okay.
But it is just bigger than it is shown on
Yeah.
maps. So you have to Google and just look up, accurate map Africa, and you'll just see a bigger Africa and
Oh,
go,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
why isn't this the superpower of the world? Like it's the biggest
Biggest
place
continent.
on the planet, practically.
Yeah, it makes you ask a lot of questions. And that's the thing. Sometimes when you get stuff in school, like a map, and you get told that this is history, and you get told that this is a custom, but when you go to the place, you're like, wait a minute, and that's all through
Yeah.
Europe. You know,
Right.
I remember when I went to France, I was expecting guys with onions around their head with the little beret eating a
Which you
croissant.
do get. It's just not everyone.
Yeah, you just there's certain there's just certain things you just expect, and then you get there and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe when I was in Italy, I was so shocked. I went to a Chinese takeaway, and there was a Chinese guy speaking fluent Italian with the Italian mannerisms and everything.
Wow, that's weird.
So it seems weird to us,
Yes.
because that's not what we've been fed. but to them, everyone's Italian. You know, there's
Yeah.
if you live there,
Croatia, we saw Asian people talking German.
yeah. I mean, I get that even here, and I would have thought there was enough famous British black folks that you'd know that. Oh yeah, you know, like Seal or. Actually, who else?
Yeah, that's it. There's loads. You know.
Well, I guess there's in England we've got Lenny Henry, but
But they
people
don't
in
know who
America
Lenny
don't
Henry
know
is.
who Lenny Henry
I'm just
is.
thinking of all the famous ones. Then they're not that internationally known. In Idris Elba, but he always plays American characters.
Yeah,
so
that's
then-
what I was going to say, Idris Elba, but he's always American. I mean, a lot of people don't know that Christian Bale is British, including
really?
moi.
Oh, that's true.
Only till fairly recently, because he plays so many. I mean, his American accents are so spot
But
on.
is he speaking with an British
he's
accent?
like that.
He's a Cockney
He's
guy?
a total. All right, he won,
No
when he won
way.
did he win an Oscar?
Well, I'm thinking he's got to
I
have
think he
won
did win
some
an
Oscar,
Oscar.
but I mean
can't
he's a
remember.
brilliant actor.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, this means a lot to me.
No way.
Yeah, he's a real all right blokey bloke. And yet, all his movies, and his thing is he won't do the same American accent. So he'll do a different American accent for when he was doing Batman, for when he was doing all these other a Boston accent. And he's just so spot
Wow,
on.
he's great.
And that was the other thing. You know, normally when you watch him being interviewed,
Yeah.
then you say, oh, okay, they're Australian. So in the interview, he'll even do it in American because he didn't want to confuse the audience.
Really?
So he'll do all the press junkets in the accent he does in the film.
No way.
So that's what threw me.
Well, that's very impressive.
Isn't it?
That's massively impressive. Chris, you do a very good range of American accents
Yes.
I've seen in your comedy.
Oh, thank
We're
you.
rather envious of this ability.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very, very skilled with those accents.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. It helps a lot, especially as far as, you know, when you're trying to work on material and you want to paint a color or a picture, you know, it helps to color the bit with sounds and voices. You know who I like to watch is Pablo Francisco
Oh, my God, yeah.
with his sound effects and his
So
voices. So I try and work on them when I can.
I haven't seen you doing sound effects in your act, though.
I know. I actually want to. I did one with a door closing.
Okay, let's
Really
hear
went
it.
out on a limb with that one.
Let's hear the door close.
It was actually a door sliding of
Okay,
a taxi.
okay, we'll
Okay.
intro, door sliding.
Shoo. What?
So,
Jason?
I was convinced of that.
That was a door sliding. What? That was good. I thought that was good.
Okay, Jason, come on, you know you're dying to do
Okay.
a door sliding.
This is my door sliding.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's not a taxi door.
No, that was Star Trek.
See? Oh, that's very
Yeah.
specific. What's that?
That's Star Trek. I just do Star Trek noises. Sorry, that's all I can do.
I mean, Jason is very good at the sound effects, but you, I'm sure, can do that too, Chris.
What's that? What's that? What was that?
the Jetsons,
Oh, there's a Jetsons?
Jetsons jet.
All right.
That sounds like an electric toothbrush that's
Look,
broken.
I don't claim to do sound
Let's
effects.
do a face off with sound effects.
I already know who I'm betting on. I think I'll let you guys. How about Chewbacca it out? That's Jason.
That's Jason.
That's Chris.
That actually sounds like both of us gargling.
Well, that's Chris. I was going to say doing an impression of being at the dentist with a tongue depressor down
Yeah,
his
this is
throat.
tongue out a little bit further.
Like
okay.
a hair away from gagging is Chris's impression of Chewbacca.
This might hurt a little. Yeah, when they say that, it's going to hurt a lot, you bastard.
I know you want to show it off again. Go on, Jason. Do
What?
your Chewbacca. Go on. It is pretty good. That is good.
Chewy.
Who else?
Wow.
Who else can you do?
This is the Predator. Remember the Predator?
That's pretty good.
Remember that?
Yeah,
He made
that
that
is-
horrible noise in the thing.
That's pretty good, man.
And he was like, "What the hell is happening?
Do another one.
Get out of here!"
Can I just say, for such a professional voiceover artist, Jason, you're doing a terrible job of staying on mic.
Yeah, well, it's because it's weird because we're talking.
I
Normally
know,
when
but
I'm focused on
I know,
me
but
like
you're
this, and now
off
I'm in a
and you're
conversation.
on.
I keep wanting to look over at you and look at
Well,
Chris.
that's how you have to do it. You got to do what and cheat exactly.
Can you hear
what
me?
you're
Can
doing.
you hear me good?
Chris? You're so perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
I am a professional.
Yeah.
I should be a radio.
Yeah, I can tell you your voice
Well,
sounds
just
Radio.
so the
awesome.
listeners know, I have a very different mic setup than these two. These have got beautiful mic. I've got one that's dangling from a ceiling virtually with a pop shield on it. So if I stand behind the pop shield, which is a shield in front of things to stop plosives like peas, I can't see anyone. So I'm trying to look around this pop shield. And then
Jason,
I'm like, yeah.
nobody likes a whiner.
Okay.
Hi, for the ladies out there in the dark. Does that sound like a DJ?
You sound great.
Hi, everybody. Speaking on 96.9 FM.
That sounds
That's
really
very
good.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You're hired.
Really?
That sounds really good.
For all the ladies in the night, here's this number one. It's called Treating You Tender.
And a good American accent too.
Oh, is that American?
Well, it did sound American.
I was just trying to sound a sexy voice.
So when you're sexy, you become American.
Become an American.
Yeah, because
That's
I guess I
interesting.
think of Barry White. I guess.
Oh, the great Barry
Yeah,
White.
you know that deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Now,
fine.
out of interest, can you do the sexy voice in a British accent?
That's a tough one.
Can British people sound sexy?
Well, I don't know. American people, American ladies say that just the accent alone is enough. So this is just us, just speaking like this is enough for them.
I see.
You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. We've got no Americans here to
Idris
confirm
Elba.
it.
Idris Elba would probably sound pretty cool. 'Cause he's got that deep voice anyway.
Really, you don't think I sound like I'm too high pitched for Idris?
You're a little bit higher than Idris Elba.
Hello, like that. Is that better?
It's getting there.
Hello, is that better? Yeah, that's
I like
better.
your normal voice.
No.
It's getting a little bit East End.
No, I think this is very sexy.
Hold on a second.
No.
No.
Are you doing
I
Justin
don't
Statham?
even know what
That's just
Jason is like. We're talking about Idris Elba.
What the hell are you talking about? That's my sexy voice.
Yeah, what if we do it like that? Is that a bit better?
If you guys are going to do it, I'm going to join
Oh, sod this. We're all going to do it.
you. This is a mean fucking podcast.
Cool, bloody hell. Can you swear like that?
I think I just did.
Cool, blimey, mate.
You better not be switching off right now, because we will find you and we will hurt you.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, Jason went dark.
Yeah, you went dark, man.
I
You
just
That's I'm in
swore.
character.
You-
You can't
want
make
people to-
threats on a podcast.
Yeah.
I was in character. It's Jason
Jesus
Statham. He's always
Christ.
threatening.
You
That's
want to
all
make
Jason Statham does.
God.
Touch her and I'll break you.
That's very
I
scary.
already know what's on Jason's mind now.
No.
I do. You
What?
want to do your Liam
I
Neeson?
do want to do my
I
Liam
knew
Neeson.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, do Liam Neeson.
Now then, listen to me carefully. I don't have money, but what I do have is a very special set of skills.
I so knew that Jason wanted to do that.
I know,
could
he's
tell.
cringing there. He's like,
From his town. You know, this is really Chris's interview, and
Yeah,
you
I
just
know,
kind
we
of
just went off on a
crashed
tangent.
it at
No,
the
I-
last
Went off on a
minute.
tangent.
no,
Chris was talking
no,
voices.
it's fine. It's fine.
We had a mini voice
yeah,
off.
we had a voice off, and it
sound
worked
effects
out.
off.
And I wanted to hear what my sexy voice sounded like.
Yeah, Chris found a new voice.
I found a new
for
voice.
a bit of material.
Yeah. Stay on your mic, Jason.
I'm staying on it.
There, you can't believe the difference.
Okay.
All of the listeners now will be like, I wish he'd stay on his mic.
She'd stay on that goddamn mic.
Right? Although they're probably calling the police now you've made an official threat on a podcast.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, all right? I wouldn't hurt you.
So, other than being British, why have you guys been best friends for so long?
Well, you know what it is. I think it's, we loved comedy so much, and to find someone that loves comedy so much, who is cool, supportive, normal, not suicidal, not abusive, you know.
Can I just say, what is wrong with being suicidal?
Well, you know,
It's heavy. It's heavy. It is a heavy
It's heavy,
subject.
and you know what?
That's-
You don't need two people like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? One's enough, but if the both of you are suicidal, and Jason is far from it.
He is.
So finding someone who's very light wasn't easy in comedy.
I agree.
And so when I met him, he was the lightest person,
Yeah.
you know, pretty
Yeah.
much. And we used to hang out with, there used to be a group of us you know, used to hang out together, and we used to be very supportive of each other. And it was more fun to do these open mics, because the open mics, everybody looked depressed. Everyone was...
some of them, it was so depressing when you go in. But if you're in a group, it was great, because it's a social thing.
Yeah.
You know? If anyone's thinking of starting comedy, just make sure you have somebody to go out with.
Yeah, because we wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, if it's not fun, you're not going to do it for very long. And I think that was one thing that I've managed to keep doing, is trying to keep it fun. And that means by going to the right places, doing the right rooms. If you're doing open mic, especially trying to pick your rooms selectively. For me, that works for me. I don't just pick any old room. If I feel it's a dark room, there's just lots of depressing people and they're treating me badly, then I don't want, why would I want to go and subject myself to that? There's other places I can find where maybe a nice coffee shop where I enjoy their cookies. So that's the one thing that I'll enjoy and look forward to, as well as working out some material, then that's what I'll do. And so we kind of had the same philosophy of trying to make sure that we had fun while we do comedy.
And it's great as well. I think the acceleration is quicker in stand-up, because you've got somebody there who gives you feedback, as long as you trust their advice and you're good friends, and you say you get the feedback, and then you help tag in each other's bits of material or giving new ideas. When you're on your own, you kind of do. You would watch people; they'd sort of sit on their own, and then they go up, and then they just go, and you just think, "Oh God, who's helping you?"
And also, I think as well, healthy competitiveness, which is really another good thing.
Yeah.
You know, we always, like, I'd always know when I see Jason doing really well, and my set was rough, I'm like, man, I need to really start coming up with some ideas. And sometimes Jason would write a lot faster than me, so I'd be like, and be like, you're all new shit, mate, all new shit, Chris. I'm like, damn it. So it's good. So you push each other and you can motivate each other. And so that's another thing. He was driven, like people that are driven and motivated, because it's really important who you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
you know,
it
whatever
is.
you do, you do become your surroundings. It sounds really crazy when they say you become what you eat, you become who you surround yourself around.
Yeah.
All that is really important. So
I've become just a little bit black. Because I'm one of your good friends.
Actually.
I have. I mean, I like to think of you as one of my best friends, but I know you and Jason are like officially best friends. But I sort of, for me, I've adopted you now as one of my best friends.
Yeah.
The other thing as an outsider to you two that I see you have in common is you're both flipping fit for comedians.
Fit.
Yeah, you both like have muscular builds. You work
Hold on
out.
a second. Now
Nice.
hold on.
You're nice. Thank you very much.
Your voice matches a muscular bit. Mine, I'm very disappointing. People are, oh.
Well,
God.
I guess for any of you who don't know what these guys look like, I mean, Jason's 6 foot, Chris is 6'2". You 6'2" or more?
I'm 6'1", but you can add the
no, you
extra.
could probably, you're 6'2" in pumps.
He comes across as 6'2".
Yeah, he's
no
tall.
offense.
No,
Jason.
I know.
Chris is the taller one.
He looks
broader
He's very
shoulders.
broad,
Yeah,
but
very
both
broad.
of these guys are very muscular. They work out, and it's just a bit different for comics.
Very muscular. I mean, I'm not speaking for Chris. I'm not very muscular. I'm just a bit stockier.
No. You just got like some chest.
Stocky. I don't think stocky.
Saying I've got boobs.
You have got a big chest.
Yeah, you got chest. You got your chest. You got the chest.
He has
you
got
got
a
the
big
pecs. You got the pecs going.
Got the pecs.
You got pecs, and your shoulders have grown a little
I
bit.
built the shoulders up this year.
Yeah, your shoulders have got there.
Got a low now.
Now, me, I got biceps, triceps,
Yeah.
6-pack, 3-pack. Nah, actually, I got
Natural
2-pack right now.
genetics.
2-pack
Chris.
right now.
I mean, you're both a bonus from me when I got to know the pair of you as well, is at the time you were both vegetarians. When I met you, Chris, you were vegetarian because you'd both watched the film Earthlings, which I recommend anybody to watch, although it's incredibly harrowing. It's harrowing. I'm going to throw it out. It's harrowing, but it's almost part of your human being a conscious person. At least watch it and then make your own decision afterwards.
Before you watch it, don't plan on having any chicken or beef or fish or anything that breathes that night.
Right.
I'd highly recommend not eating meat that day if you're gonna.
And it does come
watch
with a strong warning. But
Oh, it
like
does?
you said,
Yeah.
we watched that, what was it? Oh, I don't know, 4 years ago. And it turned us overnight.
Yeah.
And we're talking two guys who were big protein eaters, working out at the gym, building muscles, and they stopped eating meat cold.
Yeah.
watching
Well,
this film.
I mean, we live, again, going back, we believe what, we're fed. And it's the same with food. We just see it in the supermarket. We have no idea how it gets there. And that documentary tells you, and it's not everyone, but it shows you some of the routes that this meat ends up in your supermarket, and it's flipping.
And they stated it was some of the main top American distributors.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of the biggest
slaughterhouses and stuff. So,
even the kosher ones they had, even the ones they said were humane.
Yeah.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, that was very shocking. I mean, it was a shocking film to watch, and not just meat either. It covered anything to do
everything.
with animals. It was circuses, the clothing
As Chris
industry.
said, everything living.
Yeah.
Anything that breathes, man.
Yeah, everything that breathes. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
But it did turn us vegetarians for a
Yeah.
long time.
I mean, I remember as well hearing about you two watching this, and that Jason apparently thought he was going to be watching a sci-fi film.
I did. Because you said, this is great. A friend of ours has recommended it. And Earthlings.
Yeah, I can get that.
I thought, I'm down for it. We had I thought I was going to watch an E.T. movie. And then it started, and we were like, hang on a second. There's no plot.
Well,
oh, God.
Narrated by Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
So if you're brave and you have a soul, and just, I think it's a great thing for everybody to watch. And then at least you're educating yourself
Yes.
and make your own decision afterwards.
Yes.
And, I don't have anything against people that eat meat, but it's nice when at least they're educated and maybe they're buying grass-fed or free-range animals.
Well, there are a lot of people, I think, that are out there that just like, it doesn't matter what I watch, I will not eat meat. And that's fine. But I think, as Chris and I found, there's just a lot of people that are on the fence, and something like watching that will
change.
just be enough of an education to you to just go, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And as we don't, because we walk around supermarkets and think, oh, of course, because that's what the world we want to live in. Of course they're killed humanely, and they're not in pain. I wouldn't. Yeah, right.
And I actually think that, even if you do eat meat, I actually think in general, culturally we eat meat too much. We eat too much meat.
Too much meat.
I think people need a balance of food, of a balanced diet. Eat more greens. People don't eat enough greens, enough vegetables, and I think that's just important for the health. You remember that documentary you saw, the juicing one?
Oh, yeah.
Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead.
Another brilliant documentary.
That's an awesome
Fat, Sick
one.
and Nearly Dead.
Check it out. That's on Netflix, Hulu, probably on YouTube.
That's another life changer.
Yeah.
That guy he was heading to a very bad, and he's not old, he was in his early 40s, and he was heading into a very bad place, and he turned it around just from juicing.
Yeah. I actually saw a documentary on raw diets, and where they got six guys with like 4 guys and 1 woman, 2 women with diabetes, and they basically cured the diabetes from putting them on a raw diet.
I can believe it.
Well, put them on a farm.
It resets the body. This guy's body just kind of totally reset. He rested from digestion and meats and just pure fruit juice, vegetable juice. Vegetable juice is the key, not the fruit, because everyone goes, I can handle this, I'll just have orange juice every day. No, it's the vegetable juices that are the key ones.
Do you remember we all did a juice together in 2012?
Yes.
All 3 of us.
Yeah.
We went in. How many days did you last, Chris?
Not as long as you did.
Oh my God, Chris, you suffered, didn't you?
Well, I remember Chris had the
felt
proper
for him.
detox. You were in bed with the aches and not feeling good.
Yeah.
But that's proper detox.
Yeah.
It
And
was
I
a
think
nightmare.
you weren't drinking enough water, we established.
Yeah, I wasn't drinking enough water, I don't think.
I think it's important to say, if you're going to do the juicing, There's plenty of YouTube video. Don't just watch that documentary and then go, oh, I'll do juicing, because it doesn't really tell you how to do the juicing. Watch online, because there's you have to drink stacks of water. But your body's getting rid of the toxins, and that's what you were suffering from, wasn't it?
But everyone's body's different too. I mean, and you don't know. Some people also already have medical problems and stuff, so you got to be careful with doing these kind of
you definitely don't want to just do it without research and think like, don't hear this podcast and just start juicing tomorrow without looking into it.
If you've got any doubts, consult a doctor. And they'll say, well, or
a nutritionist, especially. Sometimes the nutritionists know how to do.
Because doctors don't know anything about juicing.
I mean, just basically that movie. Watch it, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and he has his own website. Joe, the Australian who's in the film, and you'll learn everything you need to know just by going to.
He's got a program by
now.
He
has. He's got it. Well, he's got his website, and he tells you about how to start and everything. But there were things I didn't think about because I like researching everything. And when I was going to do the juice, I really researched it to bits. And there's things you don't think about, like your intestines, when they don't have fiber and solid matter to go through them, they can atrophy. So you want to still be taking like a fiber drink, basically 3 times a day, so that your body still keeps up its usual activities. You don't want to suddenly give your insides nothing to push through. Else then you can have a bit of a problem when you start on solid foods again and your body's like, whoa, we're not used to pushing stuff anymore, So just Metamucil's great and having that. And of course, your body's detoxing so much that all of that's got to exit. So you really want to make sure your exit system is working properly to get the toxins out of you. That was one main point. And then the other thing was I found out that if you take, it's like a clay, is it bentonite?
Bentonite clay.
Bentonite clay, and you put a little teaspoon of this clay in water, and you drink it, and apparently it can cover the same surface area as a football field. 1 teaspoon of bentonite clay in a glass of water, and you drink it, and it's so fine, this powder, that it goes into like all the little micro crevices of your intestines and your tummy, and it absorbs all of the the toxins that your body's pushing out. So it's like you have to have those in place, or if you're juicing and you're not tending to that side of thing, you can feel really seriously ill and actually not be doing yourself a favor. If you're not getting rid of the toxin stuff in your body.
And you have to set aside some, don't go out. Basically,
stay away
for
for
about 3 or 4 days, you shouldn't go out. You should plan to be in, because because of the bathroom breaks, but also that you've literally just got to be drinking water. You've got to be having something all the time, a herbal tea, something.
And you don't know how you're going to react. Some people might even faint if they're, if you've got low blood pressure, that kind of thing. By the way, I have low blood pressure, and if you take an avocado or banana, that's what I allowed myself, even though it's not technically juice. But that regulates your blood pressure, avocado and banana, so you can have a little bit so you don't faint. But the other reason you don't want to go out when you're juicing is because, my God, if you walk by a Chipotle or a Burger King or a McDonald's and you smell the grill, it will drive you to insanity.
Do you know what I fantasize about? Steamed carrots. That's how bad. That's all I wanted to eat was a bowl of steamed carrots. That's how. So you imagine walking past a Chipotle or a. What
did you call it?
A Chipotle.
What is it? Not Chipotle?
Is it Chipotle?
That's how Americans pronounce it, Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Oh, Chipotle?
Come on, Chris.
It's not Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Come on.
It's Chipotle, mate. It's
We're
Chipotle.
amongst friends now. Chipotle.
Well, do you know, is another thing that, it's not just the food. What's it you telling me about the apricot kernels?
Oh, the apricot kernels. Well, there's a lot of stuff on the internet that says that apricot kernels can prevent and even cure cancer. I'm going to throw out a massive disclaimer here that you do your own research, and I still continue to research it myself. There's a book called World Without Cancer that you can Google. I think somewhere it's even a free download somewhere, but just Google it and that will tell you how many apricot kernels to have and all that stuff. But apparently, here's my comprehension of how the apricot kernels things work. They say there's a vitamin inside of the apricot kernel called B17. And apparently, and this sounds like some real hocus pocus, when you eat these apricot kernels and you munch them and they go into your system, if the B17 meets a cancer cell, what they say is that it releases an enzyme. It has an enzyme reaction that releases a tiny bit of cyanide that only affects the cancer cell. So you don't kind of poison yourself with cyanide. It only affects the cancer cell. And there's enormous documentation about this on the internet. And there's also a lot of the negative saying that it's totally a con. So you've got to use your own kind of, mind about this. Apricot kernels, I'm not even sure if they might be banned in California. And part of the reason a lot of people say is because, of course, if you can cure cancer from something as simple as an apricot kernel, you're actually cutting away a lot of profit of the pharmaceutical industry. Mm-hmm. So, I continue to research this, and I am telling everybody, do your own research. I'm not making any kind of claims here, but this is this is the kind of research you can dig up. If you look up apricot kernels, cure cancer, see what you come up with for yourself. I can tell you, I know some people who used to have colonoscopies every year because they have a big disposition for colon cancer. And every year they were having a cancerous polyp taken out of their colon, and they started to take apricot kernels. And this is maybe 6-7 years now. And they only take a little few, maybe 8 a day. Since then, they have not had any cancerous polyps in the colonoscopy. Wow. So I do personally know people who are having what clearly would be a preventative effect from this. And truthfully, who knows? The mind is so powerful. Right, What's true. To say it's not just your mind that believes that, I'm taking this apricot kernel, so now I'm not going to get cancer. Maybe your mind is that powerful. I don't know. I like researching all of this, and I'm open-minded to it, and I am making no claims here. So there you go. Cool.
I always think that it's good to share these things, because there's a lot of things that I myself wasn't aware of, and then that will save me a trip to getting pharmacy products with horrid side effects. And I've met quite a few people that have gone to alternative pharmacies, and they're out there. And all you have to do is Google these days. You can just Google whatever symptom you have, and then you just say alternative or natural, and then you can have options. You're not just limited to what the doctor tells you.
Here's another example that I have from my own life. I've actually had lots of medical experience in my life. This is Chris drinking water, by the way. It's
you can hear that?
Very
maybe you can't. I can hear it in my headphones, but it's even he even drinks water sexy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I've had all sorts of medical things in my life from doing so much painting over the years. I used to have some serious back and neck problems, and if people go to my website, they can see I did a very big mural that was a reproduction of the Sistine Chapel. Now, that caused me enormous pain. I did 520 hours of painting. So my right shoulder was absolute agony. I was crying while I was painting. And I went to a regular back doctor, and he said, you're going to need surgery on this. And of course, what do I know? I'm listening to the doctor, and somebody said to me, go see Dr. Leroy Perry, who still practices, and he's got some other alternative methods. And they said he treats Elizabeth Taylor and Jack Nicholson and all of the athletes from all over the world. These famous athletes would fly in to see Dr. Leroy Perry in Los Angeles. So I go to Dr. Perry, and he goes, let me guess, you've been told you need surgery on your neck and your back? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I tell you what, here you can spend $50 and buy this. And he sold me a contraption called a cervical traction that you can get these on Amazon. And basically it's a neck stretcher is what it is. And you hang it over your door, and you very carefully sit, and you make sure nobody's going to open the door, and you gently stretch your neck. And it cured me of all of my agonies. And the extension of this is I now also have an inversion table. And if you get numbness in your hands or trapped nerves in your spine, you can go on the inversion table. And that's really helpful. If you have this issue, consult your doctor.
Oh, wow.
But
I've
there
got a
you
friend
go.
who has problems like that, so I can recommend that for him.
But if I hadn't met Leroy Perry, Dr. Leroy Perry, I would have definitely I'd have had no choice but to have surgery. And goodness knows the side effects that could have had. Back surgery, terrifying.
Yeah. He's got problems with his back.
So that just backs up what you say about get the second opinion from the natural side of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Another thing, it's funny. There's so many things with comics that the comics are usually dealing with, whether it's health, depression, mental health, and physical health. So there's all those things. It's funny because when I said we were hanging out with Jason, I wanted to be kind of like he was liked.
Yes, he is.
You know, and how surrounding yourself with the right people is important. And even though I joked about, two of us can't be suicidal, there's certain people can go to that place, you know what I mean? And I can go to that place.
Yep.
You know, so I know what that feeling is. Hence is why I want to be as far away from it as possible. I know for me, I just can't. I can't stop moving. I can't stop. I've got to busy myself. I just can't. I feel like I can't stop moving. I talk to myself a lot. I definitely feel a loneliness, even if I'm not alone. It's a desperate loneliness I feel, even when I'm not alone. And that's and fear, loneliness. I feel that I don't like myself, and I feel, that those are the feelings that come to mind. And I'd always try and make sure I call people. I try and call my friends, and if I can't get hold of my friends, that's even worse. Like if I'm trying to call and no one picks up.
Oh yeah, that's horrible. Anyway,
or I'm trying to text and I go from one person to the next person, and that person I get their machine and I can't find. Then I'm even feel more of a loser because I feel like I've got no friends. Like I've got no friends. No one's picking up the phone. No one cares about me. I've told a few people that if I can't get hold of you,
I don't think I like what's coming.
No. I've told a couple of people that I really sometimes I really need someone who I can just talk to quickly, or a text. Can you just call me back? So I've been in those moments where I feel that I need to speak to somebody, and I've got a couple of go-to people that I can just call them, and usually they know what's going on. That I'm in a bad way. That they can call me back, but I haven't had that for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say. You've been doing really well, and I mean, we collectively haven't had this sort of conversation for a long time.
Yeah, do you know what it is? The worst one is, for some reason, the last time it was finance.
Yeah,
was the finance.
Well, yeah,
it's crippling. It's
finance
crippling.
is the one that got me.
Yeah,
and it's funny that because my other member of my family also has that badly. I won't say which member, but there's a member of my family that also has that finance thing, and I think it might even be hereditary, but that finance thing is a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, that was one of actually. You hit the nail on the head, one of the inspirations for this podcast, because I found myself just thinking about all the struggles in life that we have to face just so many struggles. And of course, finances is a big one. And I'm not actually struggling now, but I can't guarantee when the next time will come that I'm going to struggle, because I'm in entertainment. I'm an artist and we struggle. And I get this feeling of wanting to escape. And I know that finances and pressure and debts is things people want to escape from. And just there's so much in life. Some people want to escape from relationships. They want to escape from jobs they don't like, situations, housing, the health issues. There's so many things that we want to escape from. you know, and sometimes I'll just think, thank God that I'm something to do with the world. I mean, for me, comedy is such a survival world to be in. I can't imagine myself not being in the world of comedy, because I always know whatever happens, I can talk about it and find a way to express it in comedy.
You have an outlet.
Yeah, it's an outlet.
It's an
I can go
outlet.
on stage, whatever's happened. You know, I have talked about this sort of stuff on stage.
And that's why I think it attracts certain people because of that. You know, that it's not by accident that you're doing comedy. And it's not by accident that a lot of people that have these kind of issues are attracted to comedy.
Right.
But also the audience, though, are attracted to comedy for the same reasons,
For the same
for
reason.
escape.
Yeah,
for the same
absolutely.
Let's go out and have a really good laugh.
Right.
Let's just forget about it. And hopefully that's what they do when they come and see you. They,
Yeah.
for however long you're up there or the show is, they forget about whatever it is, the mortgage, the job, the relationship, and they can laugh at you and they can relate and escape.
Yeah.
So we're all escaping.
Yeah. I mean, really, who doesn't have that feeling? I bet you President Obama feels a need to escape sometimes.
Oh my God, I bet he wish
You
he
know?
could just go, you know what, I wish I could just walk out of here and just take my family and just go, it's not for me.
Yeah, sometimes I think the people that we most may envy or look up to, and celebrities or wealthy people, I often think, I bet those are the people who most wish they could escape. I mean, can you imagine people like Brad Pitt and Angelina, like how I bet they must think, I'd just like to go out once for a walk to a farmer's market, shop with my kids and have nobody notice me. you
Well,
know?
here's the thing, you know, the way that the planet is being structured, the way that our lifestyles have been structured is madness. I saw this documentary called Happy. Remember Happy?
Oh, yeah, I love that
Remember that?
documentary, yeah.
And it basically showed you about, you know, happiness and, you know, how there was a treadmill effect about people that used to shop, how they and it was forever. When they asked that guy, remember when they asked that guy about what would make him happy, and he said to be rich, to have money, lots of money. And a lot of people answered that question that way. But then when you went to that place in India, remember that guy he didn't have any money, but he had a family of like 6, and he was a rickshaw guy pulling.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember at the beginning?
Yeah.
And then he was saying that sometimes he thinks he's the richest guy in the world because when he gets home and his kids say, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, I love you," he said that he sees his wife, and he says he thinks every time he gets home,
wealth.
he says that's the happiest. So it's about perspective of society that in the environment that you're in and what you're taught. We're actually taught what will make us happy, but what really makes us happy is not really what actually we think makes us happy.
Oh yeah, we're told what's going to make us happy. A brand new car's going to make it. Look at the commercials.
It's confusing.
You know,
it's actually confusing.
This is all, and every campaign is designed to strike that nerve of this is going to make you happy. This is going to give you the life. You know, because they always have the wonderful families and everyone looks great and happy and healthy. And
it's what they don't tell you is unobtainable by a certain percentage of people.
Right.
You're not actually meant to do. It's a classist system that we live in. So there's only a certain amount of people that are living the dream that you're advertising.
Yeah, right,
Then
exactly.
the rest are going to be either being in debt for that dream, and struggling and being depressed because they can't pay the bills and payments. And then you've got a level of people that won't even get to that, even they have bad credit, can't even afford to even get those things through borrowing the money. And those people are just like, ugh, I don't even stand a chance. My credit's so bad, I can't even borrow money to get that piece of car or whatever. So it's usually just a percentage, and even those small percentage of people that do acquire those things, when they finally acquire those things, they realize that they're still not happy when they get those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is Tom Shadyac, who was the director of Ace Ventura and loads of other top blockbuster films. I went to quite a lot of his seminars he did, and he did his own documentary because he had a near-death experience, and he kind of had an awakening that he didn't want money. He didn't want money. He didn't need money. And he sold his $20 million home and moved to a still kind of a nice place in Malibu, but a mobile home in northern Malibu. What was the name of his documentary?
I Am or something?
I Am. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. We gave that. We got a copy and gave it to you, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got a copy off Tom Shady.
I mean, it's good. It's a slightly different story. I mean, I think we'd all like that story where we sell our $20 million mansion and move to a $1.5 million mobile home in Malibu.
Right.
I think we'd all sign up for that story. Yes, I mean, yes, good for him. He did that, but it's not kind of the story that's going to start a revolution, but good for him. All I'm saying is good for him in his position that he did that. If everyone in his position who had $20 million mansions and only lived in it for a week or living in one room sold it and donated the money, then that would be good. So he's setting a precedent in his 1% that he lives in. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I think there is Eckhart Tolle, I think, didn't he say that human beings are sick, we're in society, and even when it comes to love and spirituality, we are kind of sick people, because even our concept of love is not really love, it's ego, and when you think about it, you really think about what we desire and what we think we love, and a lot of it's ego driven.
Sure.
Oh gosh, yeah. I remember when you guys got into Eckhart Tolle. Do you remember? And you read The New Earth. Do you remember?
New Earth, yeah.
And you both got really angry. Do you remember?
In our stand up?
No, in your personal lives, the pair of you who were these mild-mannered guys, you were both saying, I'm reading The New Earth, and and the pair of you, there was the road rage, and suddenly all this anger was coming out of you.
Our pain bodies were coming out.
Yes.
The pain bodies.
Yeah, the pain
that's
bodies.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
We might have
I don't know what that was.
We might have to explain. Well, here's the thing. I think sometimes, you know what it is? There's when you're revealed the truth. It's like almost when I first found out that Father Christmas was not real.
Whoa, hey, slow down.
What are you whoa,
Now in
saying?
England we have Father Christmas still. What are you saying, Chris?
Santa Claus or Father Christmas.
There you go.
But
They're the same?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So, even the Tooth Fairy, I found out it was my grandmother from St. Lucia, the Tooth Fairy, and she didn't have wings, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like cut up, because I'm thinking,
And mad.
and upset,
Yeah.
because you've been lied to. And I felt that way with Eckhart Tolle. I felt like everything that I've been taught, all my principles, all my values, was all a lie.
Yeah, so he was telling you the truth.
He was
Eckhart
telling me the
you
truth. And so that made me angry. And then, so I was kind of angry. And in fact, I was just judging the world around me.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like I say, I've managed to balance it out now, but that's my initial response to the Eckhart Tolle, is that I just felt like I didn't like the environment that I was forced to live in, and the system that I'm part of, and still kind of feeding. And when you get to that level of truth, you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's almost like, when people when they vote for a president almost, and they're like, oh, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And then he goes to war and does all these things. And you're like, oh my goodness, I thought he was the good guy.
Yeah.
Now just imagine that is your whole belief system growing up. So now it's not even, it's because your whole belief system is now everything you are. Everything you believe in, from your religion, from what your parents taught you, from what your teachers taught you, every good person taught you, has been feeding you a lie.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I almost like was mad at Cartel too. I was like, I didn't need to know all this stuff.
Yeah, you're telling me now?
I was happy just being messed up like everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't want to see clearly.
It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz at the end when he pulls the curtain back to reveal that he's not a wizard. He's some little old grey-haired guy just making funny noises on a organ. And you're like, what? I want to believe in the wizard.
Yeah.
But it's not.
That's why people get mad when it comes to religion or something like that, because when you challenge something that they've been eating for so long, literally it is food, because it's the same thing with food. You tell people that this meat is not good or that's not good, then you're just like, no, I need this. This is what I've been told.
Yeah.
It's even like milk. They used to give us milk in school, like dairy milk, and every kid, and they tell us how good it was and great for us and stuff.
I know. Good for your bones.
Good for your bones and all this. Now people say, no, you shouldn't be eating dairy, this and that. So it's really weird, man. Tap water is a time where tap water was good enough for us. Now even tap.
Do you imagine when we were kids paying for water, like going to a supermarket to buy a bottle of it? You would have been labelled a mad person. You know,
we've only got a few years back and start realizing all the things we were told before, and now the stuff that we know now.
And now as well with water, we'll believe that it is good water that you're putting in it because it's got a fancy label of a flipping palm tree in some artesian flipping island that we've never flipping heard of. And you're like, well, it must be good. It's got a pretty flower on it.
Yeah.
It's not.
I have two references to throw in there, and one, cigarettes. That used to be, in the 50s with ads, doctors on billboards smoking. Your doctor recommends smoking.
I know.
So I think, though, there's a new one that's going to come. This would be probably my prediction, and I hope I'm proven wrong. But I'm a little, more than a bit suspicious of cell phones.
Oh, God.
And I think in the future, our children are going to say, they're going to say, our children in 20 years are going to say, can you believe our idiot parents thought it was okay to hold a...
They held it to their head.
They held it to their head, and it's communicating with a satellite. Like, it's got enough power to communicate to a satellite, and they're beaming it through their brains and not questioning that it's going to be bad. They're going to have it by their reproductive organ.
Put your cell phones in your front pockets.
So... my friends in Canada told me
coming.
that they said in Canada there's already been a 10-year study that absolutely shows that cell phones cause brain tumors, but I guess the information just doesn't get promoted very much.
It's too much money to make right now. What was it? 2 billion mobile phones in the world right now, which is supposed to double in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's nearly everyone on the planet. That's 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 people have a mobile, on every single person on planet Earth. And all those are signaling and talking. And as you said, Natalie, it's like we're going to look back at the same with cigarettes and go, oh my God, do you remember that we'd walk around with them to our heads? We're microwaving our heads.
Well, that's a system that we're living in where you have to put a price on it.
They put a price on us. We are consumables.
Well, we kind of took it to another.
We have. This is a whole different podcast.
Is anyone here running for a political position right now?
Oh God, no.
Green movement.
Well, I just want to
go on.
kind of say then I think we've hit so much stuff.
We have.
But it feels good.
It feels. Hope we haven't fried your brains out there.
Never apologise, Jason.
Okay.
Never apologise.
Well, somebody might be driving and
then they
can
have switched off.
Oh God, this is so heavy.
Well, then they can turn it off.
Okay.
If you're still here, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
And I hope that this was interesting for you. I'm really, truly grateful if you're still listening.
And our guest, Chris James. Let's not forget Chris James. Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ. I'm trying to have a moment here with people out there and tell them how grateful I really, really am for you listening. And now I'm going to get to Chris James.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris James, for taking time out and bringing your sultry, awesome voice to the podcast.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
And a bit of promo for Chris James. It's chrisjamescomedian.com. Is that your website?
That's my website. But
Okay,
if
great.
you want my Instagram, it's Chris James Comic or CJ James Leo for Twitter.
CJ James Leo.
For Twitter, yeah.
Wow.
CJ James Leo for Twitter.
I mean, like, I see the connection.
You probably won't hit my Twitter, but you might hit my Instagram if you like me, if you like pictures. Anyway,
I mean, is there just one central place they can go and then they can click on all of the other things? Like if you go to your website.
oh yeah, you can go to actually you can go to my website.
There you
You'll
go.
Yeah,
find
you've
me
got all
on
your
there.
links on
Right.
there.
Yeah, I got all my.
We
Facebook
don't need
and all that.
domain names with star signs.
No,
in
that's
and-
true.
Okay.
Oh God.
Chris James Comedian, right?
Yeah, that's right. ChrisJamesComedian.com. Gosh, I don't even remember my own website. Yeah, that's it.
All right. And Jason, thank you for joining last minute, crashing the interview.
I crashed last minute. Sorry.
And your website is very easy. It's jasoncanning.com.
It is.
But if you're a voiceover,
No.
if you're a voiceover person doing casting of any kind or in animation, or if you work at Pixar, please go to thatbritishvoice.com.
Cheap plug. Sorry.
You're gonna
but
get
Thank you.
You're gonna get to the same
you.
place.
Yeah, you will.
But it's going to program your mind that it's a voice that you're getting. And Jason has got an amazing voice. He's a super talented voiceover artist. So check him out.
Not very good mic skills, apparently. for
Apparently
podcast.
not. You've been popping quite a bit, I think. And I don't mean...
You don't mean social media popping, do you?
So I'm going to let these boys go. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
I hope
Natalie.
on some
you, Natalie.
level that this was a little escape. There you go, Jason Canning and Chris James and news about the Tooth Fairy. You heard it from Chris. Should have put a spoiler alert up front on that one. That was fun. That was a winding road, as promised, just like Mulholland Drive. We come full circle. Thanks to Chris and Jason, and thank you so much for listening. I'm truly grateful. This is a new show, so big bonus points to all who spread the word and do some sharing. Very grateful of that. And I'm going to catch you next time on The Grey Escape. Right now, I'm off to work on my Liam Neeson impression. Bye for now.